Welcome to sunny Minnesota, where the daycares are empty and the abortionist is full. Once characterized by being a satellite campus for Canada, as typified by the phrase Minnesota polite, today it looks like the second act to Black Hawk Down. Over the past month, members of the RazörForce will recall us reporting a whistle being blown on a mass welfare fraud scam whose revenue, after passing through a winding knotwork of shells and shills, wound up in the hands of Al-Shabaab, a Somali Islamic terror organization fresh from the headlines after one of their number was sentenced to 2 concurrent life bids in federal pound-me-in-the-dumper penitentiary after he tried and failed to direct a 9/11 Netflix reboot, or as Tucker Carlson calls it, a Mossad false flag. But the flags ain't looking so false this week, as no sooner had the Al-Shabaab link been uncovered than an in-depth investigation by YouTuber turned citizen journo Nick Shirley commendably went daycare to daycare, door to damn door in downtown Minneapolis, investigating a sprawling network of fraudulent Somali-run write-offs, pulling down millions in welfare funding annually.
These Somalians have taken billions of dollars out of our country. They have destroyed Minnesota, okay? That beautiful land, that beautiful state. It's a hellhole right now. And the Somalians should be out of here.
Minneapolis, food, folks, and fatwa. Though perhaps now we should add a fourth F, fraud! If you're not yet apprised of the story, allow me to furnish the cliff notes. Somali community opens daycares in Minnesota. Daycare applies for welfare assistance for said daycare, as it technically falls under the state's clearly over-subsidized healthcare system. Depending on everything from location to quantity of kids under their purview, they then rake in between hundreds of thousands and millions of taxpayer pesos. And best of all, not a single kid need ever enter the fucking premises, nearing an ass need be wiped, nor a single snotty nose staunched on site. Cut, print, welfare fraud.
What do you guys think about the fraud that's taking place here in Minnesota?
What was this money spent on? 1.26 million. What was that money spent on? There aren't any kids.
And this building here, right here, has generated millions of dollars, and it seems like business isn't even open right now, and it's a weekday. Because of my color. You said you're scared of me because of my color. So this is Quality Learning Center. I meant to say Quality Learning Center.
How can there be nobody here and it's like this every single day?
Hello, we'd like to ask where the money's going.
But a fact so depressing it makes you want to knot your bed sheets and give the hairy eye to the nearest ceiling fan is that local Minnesota Republicans, all 12 and 1/2 of them, have been blowing the whistle on Tim Walz's Wunder fraud for a piping hot minute. Yet in an indictment of the American attention span, it took a viral video by a YouTuber to finally smash the dam. Shout out to Nick Shirley, who in the absence of action on this issue, clipped on a lapel mic, brandished his handycam, and did, well, the same shit journalists used to do not 2 damn decades ago. But while the locals gave Nick a welcome worthy of a downed Black Hawk helicopter, it wasn't until he pressed the politicians that shit went pear-shaped.
If you look at United Health, currently is being charged with defrauding Medicare. You know who runs Medicare? President Trump. Medicaid fraud is a 50-state issue. And so, again, it is not a partisan issue. There are Democrats and Republicans who are sitting in that committee talking about it. But what you did here was the Republican chair say she's not turning information over to the one person in government who can stop payment. And I hope you print that.
Thank you for coming today.
If I bleep when I speak, that's because I just got fucking fleeced.
Hey, have I mentioned lately that the Minnesota politician assassinated by an Agent 47 looking fuck in a face mask a while back was a Tim Walz appointee, and then most recently championed the issue of welfare fraud in Minnesota, even opining at one point that she, quote, feared for her life as a result? Just freestyling out loud here, folks. The short-term result, a full-on freeze of welfare funds towards daycares of any kind. But the long-term cost, swing a dead cat and guess, folks. The present price tag now falls between $2 and $6 billion taxpayer dollars the last time I checked, and that's just the lazy-ass Somalis. Those people, aware they're very much an ethnically protected class, covered their tracks about as well as a centipede in the snow, so they were comparatively easy to nab. What about the white-collar comm intern who were actually actually aware of the merits of an offshore Swiss bank account. In the days since the shit blizzard began to roil, we would learn that some of these kid-deficient daycares were not only known to government regulators, they were investigated over a dozen times, and yet we're still somehow sucking millions out of the taxpayer tit. I will make a prediction right here and now to the Razor Force. Not only will analogous malfeasance and fraud be uncovered in other states, only the ethnicity of the perpetrators of said fraud will be remotely fucking variable. Granted, when I make this prediction, I'm cheating harder than Jude Law on ecstasy. It's already been reported that a similar investigation in Washington state has already turned up nearly 600 state-funded care centers sans a physical fucking address. But cling fast to your happy ass, folks, because Governor Tim Walz is on the case.
Look, it's not law-abiding citizens. If that were the case, there's a lot of white men should be holding a lot of white men accountable for the crimes that they have committed. So I think it's asking us then, you know, for every crime, which of course the majority being committed by white men, asking us to do more about that. I think it's crime in general.
And in this, Timbo, I am in complete accord. After all, why demonize when you can deport? Look, when Obama began loading up the Sapien siege engine and raining Somalis down on Minnesota, he didn't do it out of the goodness of his heart or an abundance of largesse. It was a directed effort to upend Minnesota politics permanently and flip said state from a lean left battleground to Minnesota-Dishu. Minneapolis was a test market for the DNC's demographic conquest strategy, one which has only recently been forestalled by an oft-bemoaned entity, the Electoral College. When one populous megacity has an outsized influence, effectively charting the entire political course of an entire sovereign state, when farmers and factory owners outside the city walls must subsidize socialism within those walls, this is, in effect, reascendant feudalism, with all the commie corruption attendant to such an arrangement. And so I enjoin my prior remarks by repeating the title of a rant that is aged like Cindy Crawford. State Electoral College now! You will not ameliorate this issue until 10 medium to intermediate sized counties in, say, Illinois can abrogate the decidedly tyrannical Chicago shogunate. Until then, say it loud, say it proud, you are what you elect, which explains the fucking fraud. If this don't serve as a cacophonous wake-up call, you, my friend, are incapable of consciousness. While we argue about conspiracy theories, the left and rhino right successfully conspire against each and every one of us. While you pose in polo shirts and posture about physiognomy, a gray alien-looking asshat with a head like an upturned light bulb is billions richer at your expense. While everyone on X pretends to be an expert about the ballistic properties of a 30-06 using Call of Duty kill streaks as evidence, your enemies are funneling your FICA tax to a fez-wearing fuck whose buddies back in Somalia have racked up quite the anti-Christian kill streak of their own. I bitch about Bondi plenty, but I would elect her president for life if she brought even one of these asshats to justice. Get your head in the game and out of your ass, because your enemies are playing for keeps and they were armed using your money by a political party that your internecine tism-fit has now furnished with a 60 to 75% chance of taking back the House next November. So while you and I may commiserate about how nothing ever happens and the GOP are slow walking a predetermined defeat, bitch, you best believe the Dems will drop the accelerator to the fucking floor if they spend so much as a second and a half in the driver's seat. And before Black Pill and Accelerationists chime in with, well, that's what I want, need I remind you, Riris, of the Russian mass graves filled to overflowing with the corpses of cucks just like you who thought back in the 19-teens that kowtowing to the commies to repossess the country at some nebulous later date was the surest path to future victory. I'm sure 7 decades later, when the Berlin Wall at last fell, while long dead and moldering, the children of their children would have fallen to their fucking knees and thanked the forefathers of you gaping-ass groiper jizz stains for taking such a circumspect stand if only they had ever been fucking born! Get in line or get the fuck out of my way, because we can work with the hapless. We don't have time for the fucking witless. I am Razor Fist. Godspeed!
I guess there is no way to put this delicately. So basically we're fucked. They caught us.
The FBI is looking at all of us right now. So please tell your brothers, your husbands, well, you're from Somalia, so your brothers are probably your husbands, whatever. Just tell all your family members to shut it all down right friggin' now. If you have kids, put them in a truck and take them to the nearest quality learning center. I know it's supposed to say learning, but you're all so fucking stupid you couldn't even get the sign right. Anyway, take them to the Learning Center and tell them to pretend like they're learning shit, okay?